Happy Sunday, Michigan football fans. Thank you to about the 150 of you guys that subscribed to the channel this week. We told you you're about 300 away. Needed to get to 34,000 by the end of the month. We're halfway there. Still have 12 days to go till the end of the month. A few shout-outs here. We got Teste Cold, new subscribers, basically. Actually, I got to click this little icon. So, I'm sorry. Henry Jackson, GT for him, Nomis, Brian Johnson, RJ Worse, Natare Williams, Ghostface Billa, James Stevenson, Colton Hostler, and more. Subscribe to the channel. Most watched Michigan football show on any platform. Most consumed 2022, 2023. Somebody else beat us in 2024. That's fine. We'll be back with a vengeance in 2025. It's our year once again. Thanks to you guys. Subscribe. Be along for the ride. YouTube.com/Michigan TV. Staff shakeup, Jack. Show shakeup. There's been a lot of rumors on the Twitter sphere here in the office at Chat Sports. What is the future of this show? We want to keep it going. We want to keep building subscribers, but there are some rumors which we are going to address, so you're not going to want to miss that. It is the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Coming up right now. So the problem with password sharing, Jack, where that people, access our Instagram and Twitter accounts, they can post or, share things if people are doing other things, is someone from the staff went into my account. They want to put this out there. The leaks are real, okay? The news might be fake. The leaks are real. Someone went in and commented on our Instagram post, Michigan Football Report, about the rumor that I am considering retiring from the content game, going on and leading Chat Sports to bigger and better things, and said, who will the new host of the show? Is it Jack? So, Jack, all eyes are pointing at you that you could have been the one that hacked the account and put that on there. I don't know. Maybe Instagram can help us figure it out, but what are your thoughts there? Did you hack first? Was that you?
I promise on my life, I did not hack. I did not ask that question. I would never try to take over the Michigan Football Report. I would never try to take it away from you.
Okay. Well, what if that was? What if we put like a job posting? Would you apply?
Of course. I love Michigan. Let's go.
Okay. I'm not going to address the rumors, concerns now. So, Jack, I'm going to be away. I don't know if you've really heard the news. Brett kind of maybe mentioned a little bit yesterday when we were doing our baseball talk, but I'm going to be away from the office for about 2.5 weeks in March. Some things going on in the world, and when I come back, I might not do the show anymore. We'll see. I'm going to have to see how it goes. If not, though, Jack, just like Joe Biden with Kamala, I will give you my full recommendation if I step away. Now, I'm hoping you have better success than she did, right? You might have somebody more boisterous and braggadocious come in and steal the role away from you, but you will get the letter of recommendation from me if I put out a tweet on a Sunday afternoon that I am no longer running for re-election to be the host of this show. So keep an eye on that, guys. Nothing's going to happen this month, but I won't be doing shows for maybe about, we're going to pre-film some stuff, right, Jack? And then I'll be out for about 2 weeks. And then coming back, we will make a decision on the future, if it's going to be me or we're going to hand over the reins to someone else. So if this is the last bit, Jack, this is the month of February, it's been real. We won a national championship. We've got it with you guys, but I hope that things work out, that I can stick around and do this. Let's go on to some more questions on this team. What's your true expectations for this 2025 Michigan football team? I don't like ever abbreviating, years. It's the 2025 season, but Mike, I know what you're saying. Let's take a look at the schedule because, these schedules aren't done years in advance as they were in the past, right? Like they're with the 18-team Big Ten. They've been announced, just after the season kind of thing, with like a year or less than a year to spare before you have these games being played. You know what your out of conference are. So New Mexico, you go to Oklahoma, you go back home, Central Michigan. But then you got Nebraska, right? So you got 2 games against former Big 12 powers, now SEC and Big 10, not powers as much currently. 2 big road games. So what happens? Who's the quarterback there? Bryce Underwood, Mikey Keene. Then you got to bye. Come back home against Wisconsin, right? A different Wisconsin. This isn't run the ball down your throat Wisconsin. This is air raid Wisconsin over the last couple of years with a different staff in there. It's not kind of just passing the baton down of the Barry Alvarez coaching tree. They've got new blood in there, and they've been running an air raid offense, so we'll see. Got to go on the road on October 11th to USC. We don't know what we're going to get from this USC team. Lost a lot of transfers, lost a lot of guys. Even Miller Moss transferred away. He was a starting quarterback last year. See how that shakes out. Washington at home, Michigan State. That's a tough run in October of teams that could be, fighting for a playoff spot, fighting for a Big Ten championship game appearance. Wisconsin, USC on the road. Washington, and then at Michigan State. Probably not them, of course, but the 3 games prior, and then you go into a rivalry game. Purdue at home to start November, and then you've got another bye before the stretch to end the year of at Northwestern. Now, Jack, maybe this is a game we should try and go to because it is at Wrigley Field. Michigan's playing Northwestern at Wrigley Field. You go on the road again to Maryland, which absolutely stinks to watch a game. I'll never go to the game there again. I went there in 2023. It stinks. And then at home against Ohio State, you'll beat Ohio State again. Big Ten championship to wrap up what could be, if they're there, a 4th Big Ten title in 5 years or a disappointing season. We shall see. But Sherrone Moore did learn a lot last year. I think if he could do it over and he could play that Illinois game, if he could play that Indiana game, hell, if he could even play that Oregon game, and you might say I'm crazy, in November or December or even January instead of October or early November when they played them, I think Michigan gets 2 wins there, maybe 2 of those games wins. I think they could beat Indiana if they played them at the end of the year. I think Michigan really found what was working, finally found the right rotation of offensive linemen. Sherrone kind of came in to his own. You clearly saw he was unprepared and qualified, frankly, to be coaching against Texas the second game of the year, right? Didn't have a quarterback lined up, didn't have an offensive strategy lined up, didn't have a defensive game plan with Wink Martindale. But Wink figured it out. Michigan figured out something that could work on offense, which is mostly just Kalel Mullings slamming his face into the defense and then trying to break off tacklers. Sherrone figured out what he's good at, got better at game management, and he addressed areas of concern that I think makes Michigan a more formidable playoff contending team this year. Now, if they don't make the playoff this year, I won't be disappointed. I won't be calling for his head unless they look just absolutely incompetent out there. Different story. But I think the floor for this team is 8-4. I do think that they have a 12-0 ceiling. You say, you're crazy, James. You're crazy. Look at that schedule one more time, Jack. I want to look at that schedule one more time, knowing that this team went on the road and beat Ohio State again with Davis Warren as their quarterback. I've got, 90% chance of win. I'd say 60% chance of win, 90% chance, 60% chance. Keep it going. Wisconsin, I'm saying that's 70% chance to win. At USC, let's call it 50-50. Washington home, 60-40. At Michigan State, I'm saying 70-30 Michigan. Home against Purdue, 80% chance of winning. Northwestern on the road, I'm going to say 70% chance of winning. Maryland, same. And Ohio State, 100% chance of winning. So that probably leads to 11-1, 10-2 kind of record. But outside of Ohio State, there is no team that I think is going to have as much talent that Michigan. You've got no Penn State, who will be ranked in the top 5. You've got no Oregon, who should probably be ranked again in the top 5 to start next year, or in the top 5, 6, 7. They will be a team that everyone will expect to be in the playoff. Michigan's got a nice schedule next year. You don't get Penn State, probably the best Penn State team we've seen in 20 years or something like that. And you don't get, some really brutal schedule where you're going on the West Coast a bunch of times, right? You only go on the West Coast to USC. I think Michigan can easily win 10 or 11 games. They do that. They make the playoff 9-3. They'd be right on the cusp of it, so we'll see how it shakes out. My guy, Stu Gatz, longtime viewer of the show, came over on Twitter, says, from 1 to 10, where do you think our O-line and D-line will be next year? I think the D-line is going to be good. Right? They brought in, former 5-stars from Alabama and Clemson who didn't really, do a lot of things there. Okay, maybe Michigan has proven to put out better defensive line talent over the past 4 or 5 years. Continued on, last year. Might have 3 guys from this defensive line, including Josiah Stewart, be first-round picks, at least top 50 picks in the NFL draft coming up. So I think this defensive line is going to be very good. Start the year 8.5. They could be up to a 9.5 by the end of the year. We saw some guys really step up in that bowl game. Offensive line, we're going to go as a 6. But you brought over 2 seasoned starters from smaller programs. A starter from Cal Poly, multi-year starter from Ferris State, guy who won national championships, D2 All-American. Could those players take that big jump up, solidify some of the weird places that Michigan struggled last year and couldn't find their footing? You add Andrew Babalola, Ty Haywood, 2 5-star, high 4-star offensive linemen. And I think Michigan, by midseason, I would expect them to have 6 or 7 guys that they think they can win a Big Ten championship with. If they don't, as I said on our show on, Thursday, Jack, that I think Michigan's offensive line coach might be on the hot seat if he can't take this group of talent and turning it into a formidable, powerful, Joe Moore Award-winning level, not necessarily win it, but level offensive line. Grant Quadderer, appreciate that. GQ Lawn Care. Make sure you go get them for all of your lawn care needs on Twitter, GQ Lawn Care. Over under 4.5 games, Bryce Underwood will start as his freshman campaign for the Wolverines. I got to go over, right? I personally got to go over, but we're not really going to know. I mean, I'll give you the answer probably after spring practice with some absolute certainty. I would be disappointed if he doesn't start over 5 games. But I don't know what you guys think. 4.5 starts, right? So if you think it's 3, if you think it's 4, you think it's 2, 1, 0, give me an under in the comments. If you think it's 5 or higher, 16, right? Wins the national championship. Go ahead and give me an over down in the comments. 4.5 starts for Bryce Underwood. Over or under. Just Win from Twitter coming in saying, who are the offensive playmakers you see breaking out next season, this 2025 season? Who are our playmakers? We don't know yet, right? I think you could say Jordan Marshall should be a serviceable back. We've seen some glimpses from Shamaj Morgan. Tyler Morris is no longer there. You've got some strong tight ends in Hogan Hansen and others. But I think this wide receiver group is on the hot seat, right? Will we get a big-time player from Donovan McCulley like he was in Indiana 2 years ago? I don't know. Frederick Moore. You've got, what's Simpson's first name again? Do we remember, Jack? The Maryland. I just keep forgetting it on our show on Friday. I kind of forgot it as well. But, a guy who had 700, 800 yards in the slot position for Don Brown's UMass a couple years ago. Could he, after really, Anthony Simpson. There you go. We've got him as the backup, right? True freshman, right? Andrew Marsh. Could he, a top 100 player, big-time wide receiver from the state of Texas? So there's a lot of guys who could make an impact from that wide receiver group, tight end, and then the running back. I think you've got a really strong for at least the next 2 seasons, unless Justice Haynes, absolutely blows up and has 1,200 yards this year. And these guys, Marshall and Haynes, will be a 1-2 combo that will crush for Michigan the next 2 seasons. And I'll say what's going to crush for you guys when you take my advice, finally, and you get with the sponsor of today's show. We are so excited to have Factor back as a sponsor of the Michigan Football Report. Jack, are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Now, I've said this. Came back from the Super Bowl, still my Factor left over from the prior week. Another shipment came on Tuesday. I love it. You peel back the film. You mix the food up. You put it in the microwave for a couple minutes. Maybe you put it in for another minute if you need to, if you like it a little hotter. It tastes great. You couldn't convince me that this wasn't a home-cooked meal by a really good chef. Look how lovely and beautiful this food has. I told my wife, if we got divorced, if I wasn't married to her, if I was single, if I had to travel for work all the time, I'd just take Factor with me everywhere, right? It is great, healthy meals, and it is awesome. And heck, they've got keto meals so you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks. Of course, results will vary depending on your diet and exercise. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off. It's a tough one, we know. It's right there on the screen. factormeals.com/MichiganChat50 off. Get 50% off your first box plus free shipping from Factor Meals. The link is down in the comments and the description, second paragraph of the description on today's Michigan Football Report. Sean Schrock coming in saying, this is an Ohio State guy. That's fine. Who is a bigger clown, Sam Webb or Isaiah? I'm going to take a sip of water before I talk about this one. You guys might be fans of these guys. These guys, Jack, or what I call access journalists. I don't call it, that's what they are. They're access journalists. They take orders from the people they write stories on to continue to try and get access. And so you never can trust what you hear from them. And then you got Isaiah Hole, who, I went at him last year, a year and a half ago, who said, yeah, I knew there was a pedophile running around Ann Arbor with Michigan gear on who was working for the football team. I knew about it. So his desire to look like an insider was stronger to him than his desire to be a normal human being, right? If he even had a brain, he would say, I didn't know anything about it. It's disgusting. It's sickening. If I would have known, I would have called the police. But he said, it wasn't my place to report on Alex Yoder being a pedophile and trying to hook up with 13-year-old girls and give them alcohol to Walmart. It wasn't my place. I knew about it, of course, but I couldn't report on it because, hey, I wouldn't be allowed to, right? That's just sick behavior. The guy wears a Jesus is King hat, and I just saw somebody sent something in DM, might have been Sean. He started a Jesus Scripture TikTok account. The guy is a total phony, a total fraud, and he thinks his reputation as an insider was more important to him than his reputation as a normal, good human being. So the guy's an absolute scumbag, and no matter what he says, that will follow him around. Isaiah Pedo Hole. He covered up for a pedophile, and he's absolute sick. You guys know my thoughts on Sam Webb, but Isaiah Hole, complete scumbag, and I think that he's going to get what's coming to him before too long for his absolutely disgusting behavior. JC coming in, Teak Engine 12 on Twitter, my main man. Now that Michigan is in the thick of the NIL world, there's a list of people funding it. We just think the NCAA force companies and donors to put their name out there. Now, I think this is coming, right? I think with the legislation that's going to start later this year, where 20 is what we say is like 20 million of the 22 million, I think was the number that Michigan's going to take out of the the athletic department budget and put towards paying players, and a big chunk that's going to go towards football, and then NIL deals. We've offered NIL deals. Obviously, we talked about Barstool Sports on our last show, was that Friday show, and others. But right now, it's not as much companies, which it should be. True name, image, and likeness. It's really wealthy donors who have an affiliation to the school. Maybe they say, okay, we can have you do this for us, which is a job. But no, you wouldn't get that in the open market. There's no list right now. There should be, and I don't know why more companies don't try and get at least small marketing deals with these guys. Maybe the price is too high, but for the most part, it is donors, wealthy alumni donating 5, 10, 100,000 if they have the means. Larry Ellison, 40 million, and maybe Dave Portnoy, $1 million or something like that to do a media deal with Barstool Sports. But I do think that in the next 24 to 36 months, the NCAA is going to have a database required. If you are taking money from NIL, you've got to put in who the company is and what you are doing for them. And there's probably going to be a third-party arbitrator that says, is that fair market value or not, which might stomp down some of these inflated valuations, guys getting $2 and $3 and $4 and $5 million to play college football. I don't hate it because it seems like Michigan is one of the leaders at this point, but I think it will change. Reminder, we need 149 subscribers to get to 34,000. So thankful to all 33,851 who have subscribed. Come along for the ride. Let's make 2025 our best year yet. If I'm still the host, we'll address that in about a month and a half. Till Daddy from Twitter. Good follow. Follow Matt Jacob Tilly 0. What are your thoughts on quarterback Trey Taylor, right? 2027, I think he'll end up being a top 50 player when that class gets ranked. But it's kind of crazy if you think about it. It is February of his sophomore year in high school, and people are already pushing Trey Taylor to commit out of Carmel Catholic in Illinois. Hear what he said recently about his top schools. For me, I'm down to Texas A&M, LSU, Michigan, Nebraska, and Illinois. How about this one he put out? I saw this tweet about a week ago, right? A week and a half ago, February 7th. Fun fact. Guy's up early, Jack. You see at 5:19 a.m. That's Central Time. That's Eastern Time? That's Eastern Time. Wow. That might even be 4 o'clock his time, right? That's crazy. That's on a Friday as well. So he says, fun fact, I know it's tracked how many times I go to Michigan football campus, but there's probably 10 times not accounted for. I was 10 the first time that my dad took me to Michigan, all to help keep me locked in. Then he posted along with that tweet a couple of these photos here. Him as a 10-year-old boy standing in front of the big house, a little sunshine coming through. Another photo, a little bit better angle. So he's had the affinity, and this seems like a dad who's been, if you read the articles, taking him all over the country, getting in the car on weekends when there's no other stuff going on, driving to campuses, making sure his son is making the right choice. J.J. McCarthy's showing him love too, right? He visited when McCarthy was there at quarterback at Michigan. we'll see what he comes out. But as a sophomore, already 6'3", 190 pounds or so, and all the prognostication says he's going to be a 4-star if he kind of shapes up and continues to grow. So potentially could move into that 5-star range. Certainly shows a lot of love for Michigan on social media. This is still 2 recruiting classes away, sophomore. But we got to remember, think back to when J.J. McCarthy committed, right? McCarthy was leading Ohio State around this time in 2019, his sophomore spring of high school. And then Kyle McCord committed to Ohio State in like February, March of their sophomore year. And 2 months later, I'll still remember the day. It was the day Tom got married, May 11th, 2019. J.J. McCarthy of his sophomore year of high school committed to Michigan, changed the future of this show. Jack and I's lives, your lives probably, won the national championship. So don't think it's too far out for a sophomore in high school to commit to Michigan. And if Trey Taylor's looking to do that for Michigan, they should absolutely take him. Film looks nice, still a sophomore, 2 years of high school left. Could end up being a top 50 player, top 20 player even, a 5-star, or could drop out and be like a 3-star, just depending on how the next 2 years go. But I'm pretty excited from what I've seen so far. How about my guy, Dylan Everyday? He says, my mom wants to know, he says his mom is a Michigan grad, surprising because he went to Ohio State and LSU. Will the big house have Wi-Fi before the Ohio State-Michigan game on November 29th, 2025? Yes, Wi-Fi is coming to Michigan Stadium. Yeah, right. It's still the most sickening and is the most embarrassing thing. So when someone goes to Michigan Stadium from another campus and they're like, I can't get a damn cell signal all day, right? The Texas fans were complaining about it. And it's not like I want to be on my phone texting people. I want to know what's going on in the world. It's not just the 3.5 hours of the game. It's the 2 hours before the game. You walk into the stadium, you're tailgating. The entire city of Ann Arbor is a polar vortex of no cell signal. You want to just go in the game and be able to get a text from a friend about the play or find out what's going on in other games because there's so many damn TV timeouts. So don't say, why do I need the cell signal? Focus on the game. The game is actually played in about 9.5, 10 minutes of that 3 hours. The rest is breaks between plays, timeouts, TV timeouts, halftime, etc., etc. Michigan needs Wi-Fi. It's not expensive. It's not difficult. These big stadiums like Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State and Notre Dame that don't have adequate Wi-Fi, you're absolutely living in the Stone Age. And I think before too long, you're going to pay for it because your students don't want to not be able to have access. They want to be able to find their friends. They want to know what's going on after the game. And it is an absolute sham and a mockery. Get some damn Wi-Fi at Michigan Stadium. We'll do a rant again in August, Jack. If we're still here, we'll do a rant again in August. That's our mini February rant, and that is the end of today's show. I will see you guys back next week. Enjoy your Sunday. Go Blue.